Wayne Rooney decided to get himself back into the headlines for all of the wrong reasons. As you know right now, Wayne Rooney was arrested for another DUI, and this is something where it is becoming an alarming story, especially since Wayne Rooney had come off a set of positive headlines for the first time in months. Even with him deciding to retire from the England national team, he decided to retire on his own terms after a wonderful start to his return to his boyhood club Everton, scoring goals and having them get off to a fine genesis for this Premier League 2017-18 campaign. And then all of a sudden, he decides once again to get on a drinking binge. Wayne Rooney's tale is potentially spiraling to the point that it could be as tragic as two other British uber-talented footballers, Paul Gascoigne and George Best. I have to be honest with you. That's how it is spiraling out. Because if Wayne Rooney, after all that he's been through, after everything that has transpired with him, and how his last embarrassing episode with being inebriated resulted in front page headlines and problems with his missus, if that couldn't change him, and if success with his boyhood club again at Everton couldn't change him, when he's at a high, when he's shown some maturity by saying to himself, no, I don't want to try one last World Cup in Russia, I have played enough on the national team, it is time for me to leave. Just when it seemed like he had those full maturity with him in his mind state right now, he goes ahead and does what he does, and could have potentially killed not only himself but many others if things would have gotten really out of rhyme. And it's to the point where you have to say to yourself, if he couldn't stop his embarrassing ways of getting drunk before, after what happened last year, and after seemingly positive headlines now, then it's going to be a Paul Gascoigne, George Best situation that you have to fear wouldn't be. You can't rule it out right now because of him doing this ridiculous thing. For those who don't know what Paul Gascoigne, being a Spurs legend that he is, unfortunately he had to admit that he had to be resuscitated to stay alive because of the chronic drinking issues that he had. And we all know the case with George Best. And that's before ESPN did a wonderful 30 for 30 documentary on him, highlighting how this uberly talented player who could have been at the heights of a Pele, Madonna, he was at that level. He was at that level when he played and when he was fully committed and the fame didn't consume him and the alcoholism, the booze, the pints didn't consume him. He was at that level, only for the drinking to squander it so bitterly so. That is the path that Wayne Rooney is going to place himself on if he doesn't stop this. And honestly, with this episode, it's hard to see how he's going to be able to stop this. After he didn't stop it when he was embarrassing all over the trashy Sun, the Daily Fell, all over the tabloids there for being a drunken mess that he was last time this happened. That didn't stop him. The great vibes at Everton didn't stop him. Who's to say what else could stop him after this? Because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever when you realize that the sense has long gone from him on this and how he truly does have a severe problem that unfortunately may not be cured. And you have to say to yourself that it could really end in a situation where he could be the next Paul Gascoigne or George Best in terms of having a really tragic post-career of being addicted to the booze. And I hate to say it, but as a person who has been a long admirer of Rooney, whether as a fan from a distance or just as an objective journalist, and just the spirit that he plays with and how he represents an underdog nature, an underdog streak for many people, It's just the truth that needs to be said, and someone needs to tell him that right now. And beyond just Ronald Koeman or his wife, or if Sir Alex Ferguson still wants to ever talk to him, or if Jose Mourinho, who misses Wayne Rooney at Manchester United despite their great start to the season, and how he knew that Wayne Rooney's time was up at Manchester United, he has full affection for the former England captain. Someone has to express this to Wayne Rooney, as they have been doing so, but he has to express it to himself. And even with him expressing it to himself, as he has surely done for the many embarrassing episodes that he's had, I don't even think he could stop himself, as was the case with this incident. All I can say is that hopefully I'm categorically wrong on this, and that Wayne Rooney be able to save himself from a disastrous end. Forget his football career, but for his life and for his family that love him so, as well as the friends that care for him close or all over the globe. Hopefully you can turn it around, Waza, but you need to be told that you could have a tragic end if you don't stop. All right, for TYT Sports, once again, I'm Andrew Jones. Thanks for watching. You click subscribe, and that great sports video we'll try to always provide. Peace.